Hey, what is going on, guys? It's DK. Back at you at the end of the video here to break down the 7-game NBA main slate on Sunday. Before I get into the video, if you guys are new to the channel, my name's DK. I make daily videos breaking down NBA, NFL, PGA, and esports, daily fantasy sports slates. Before we get into the video, guys, I want to thank you so much for the support recently. It has been really overwhelming. Currently at 7.35 thousand subscribers. So if you guys do enjoy this content, if you can hit the like button on the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit the notification bell so you don't upload videos you know go live. That would be greatly appreciated. If you guys cannot watch these videos, I do upload an Apple Podcast. I have a link down below. And if you guys are interested in signing up for premium content, and I'll offer that on patreon.com. A couple different packages. Again, you guys can check it out down below. If you have any questions, just let me know. But with that all out of the way, let's jump in the video. Before we talk about players and the prices for this 7-game slate, we got to look back at my lineup here from Saturday. And Saturday, you know, there's been blowouts. There's been foul trouble, which we did a foul trouble in Sabonis. There's been injuries. There's been ejections. Everything I've had to deal with so far in every single slate in the regular season. But there's a new one. There's a new one today. I know, you might think Drummond, he played 20 minutes, he got in foul trouble, right? Nope. Just got benched. I finally buy in to Darius Garland. I've been a skeptic all year. I'm like, man, I don't think this guy's going to keep it up. I don't think he's this good of a player. He's in a smash spot tonight. He's been getting such a high floor of his assists. Again, playing huge minutes. Shoots 3 of 14. And just to really top it all off, this is a 230 over-under. It finishes with a total of 195 points. So that's how my night went. Yep, let's go over my lineup. So Garland, Reddish, Hunter, Sabonis, Drummond, Michael Carter-Williams, Bazley, and Capella. So, I mean, I hit on Hunter, Bazley, Capella, which doesn't matter. Drummond playing 20 minutes is just, I don't know what else to say. Darius Garland, he was the chalk in this high dollar tournament, almost 60% owned, shoots 3 of 14. I played Cam Reddish. Yeah, I mean, I was just going for the game stack in this game, Cleveland, Atlanta. Obviously was hoping for a higher scoring game than this one. And then Sabonis gets in foul trouble against the Knicks. So that's it. That's it for the look back. Let's try to regain composure and talk about this 7-game slate. All right, but let's turn around here, guys. Let's have a big win on this Sunday slate. Feeling some good luck coming our way. Hopefully soon. Good luck. Praying for this slate and just no foul trouble, injuries, blowouts, ejections, and now, please no getting benched randomly. That's a new one. Add getting benched to the list of things that happened the last week. But yeah, Wizards, Nets, again, the 242.5 over under. The Nets are 8.5 point favorites. Nuggets and Timberwolves, the 230.5 over under. The Nuggets are 8.5 point favorites. We have Clippers, we have Suns, a 217.5 over under. The Clippers are 2 point favorites. And Portland and Golden State, a 234.5 over under. Portland's 5 point favorites. So let's go team by team for this video, guys. And we'll start with Washington. This game looks really appealing for DFS-wise. It's a 242.5 over under. Now, 8.5 point spread, so just basically every single game so far this season, there is blowout risk. But if this game stays competitive, I think there's a lot of upside. Like Westbrook at the top, I think is one of the better plays at 10-2. He's playing huge minutes. In the games he's playing 36, 36, 38, and 39 minutes. He has had a triple-double in every single game so far. And again, this Washington team is not very talented. A great matchup. I really like Russell Westbrook at the top. I think he makes for one of the better spot-ups of the day for sure. No, Brad Beal, again, was all over him 2 games ago, and that game blew out. He had 47 fantasy points in 3 quarters. With Westbrook playing For me, he's more of a secondary option, a little bit more scoring dependent. I would prefer Westbrook, who is just, can do it all with the assists, the rebounds, and score the ball. So I would prefer Westbrook. Now, Thomas Bryant at 6.6K, I think is a decent play. Should play over 30 minutes. Again, this game's going to be played at a pretty fast pace. So I think he's a decent play in the mid-range. Not a priority for me, but definitely someone who can land on. The secondary options for me are kind of out of play, especially when Westbrook plays. It's just I don't really want to go to these secondary guys. So they're all out of play for me. Let's move on to Brooklyn. So really, Brooklyn, there's only two guys I want. It's KD, it's Kyrie. I think both look really, really good here in a fantastic spot. Both are playing pretty big minutes, 35 and 37 minutes for KD last couple games. Kyrie playing 34 and 33 minutes. Like them both a lot in this spot. Probably, think KD has a slightly higher floor, but really like both of them. Again, this game is super, super appealing for DFS-wise. Karis LeVert at 6'5", just not playing enough minutes, right? And he's the number 3 in the offense. I just can't do it at the moment. Again, Joe Harris a little pricey. With Allen versus DeAndre Jordan, they're splitting the 7 minutes. Kind of hurts their upside. I mean, Allen's the guy that's playing a little bit more, but still don't know if you have to go to either of them. TLC's been playing some, decent minutes, 26 and 21, but he is pretty reliant in scoring. And when KD and Kyrie are both healthy, I don't really want to go there. So the value for Brooklyn, there's not really anyone that stands out for me. Let's move on to the Lakers and Memphis. So this game at least has a good amount of blow risk. Memphis missing John Morant. It's not out yet. LeBron James is questionable, but I expect him to play. So LeBron and AD, we finally saw an upside game from both of them. LeBron had 62. Anthony Davis had 62 too. But yeah, previous games, these guys have not flashed as much upside or consistency as they did last season. Now, I think it's partly due to the fact that there's playing alongside slightly higher usage guys like Schroeder, like Montrezl Harrell. So I think that is affecting the top two guys here in the Lakers a little bit. I'm worried that Memphis cannot keep it close. If I knew they were going to keep it close, I would have a lot more interest in LeBron and AD. But I think they're more GPP plays for the reason of I'm just a little worried about this game not staying competitive. Schroeder's been playing the big minutes at 6'8". If surprisingly LeBron James gets ruled out, I think it makes for a pretty nice play in the mid-range. But when they're both healthy, he's just a secondary play at this price at least. Harrell's just a little too pricey for me at 6'3". I'm probably going to pass there. As far as the value goes here for the Lakers, so KCP is questionable. Caruso's still out. Maybe if KCP is out, I want to see what they do with the starting lineup. Do they throw Wes Matthews in there? Maybe to throw THT in there? I don't know. THT's been getting some running, and he's a decent point per minute guy. If KCP is out and they start a guy like THT, then he would become one of the better value plays of the slate. So got to monitor KCP status. Could open up some value there for the Lakers. But let's move on to Memphis. So Memphis, again, there's some risk involved here. If they're going to stay competitive, it's the top 3 guys, JV, Slow-Mo, and Dillon Brooks. And Slow-Mo has just been, I don't know what's happening to him, but he is turning into a really good NBA player. Kind of out of nowhere. 45, 41, and 47 fantasy points in 3 of the last 4 games. He's been really, really consistent. I think he's, at this price, still a GPP play because there's the blowout risk. But again, hard to argue what he's been doing. JV at 8K in this matchup, not as excited about it. Lakers are a little bit more stout defensively, so probably not going to get to him. Dillon Brooks, I could see making an argument for. Again, if they're going to keep this game competitive, he's going to be a main reason why. Probably him and Kyle Anderson as well as JV. Kind of rely on the scoring, right? 21 real life points, but only 3 boards to assist. I think, again, if you're taking if you're going to play either LeBron James or Anthony Davis, I think it makes sense to run it back with one of these Memphis guys. Because if Memphis is going to keep it close, we're going to see a big game from one of those top 3 guys. So, again, if you're getting exposure to either LeBron James or AD, I think it makes sense to run it back with one of those main Memphis guys. Now, value here, like Tyus Jones is fine. Again, should play about 30 minutes in a close game. Brandon Clark, again, same thing. 25, 30-ish minutes. I think he's a secondary play. Value is interesting here. So if Grayson Allen is out once again, I think we can look to Desmond Bane and John Conchar. Desmond Bane played 28 minutes. Conchar played 27 minutes. These guys are really, really cheap. And if you're taking the route of the blowout, then I think you want to consider guys like Bane and guys like Conchar. Only if Grayson Allen is out. If Grayson Allen is in, they're just a little bit worried about the minutes. If Grayson Allen is out, and the game does, in fact, blow out, I think Bane, Conchar are the guys you want to look to for value. Let's move on to Denver and Minnesota. So Denver, this is another game I'm worried about the blowout. I am. Minnesota got blown out by one of the worst teams in Washington with no Russell Westbrook. So now they're playing a good team in Denver. Whew, this is risky. So Jokic at the top, love his upside. Absolutely love the matchup. It's just, do you feel confident that Minnesota keeps this game close? So this is another situation where if you play a guy like Nikola Jokic, I think it makes sense to run it back with either I would say D'Angelo Russell or Malik Beasley. Those are the two that I have to have big games if Minnesota is going to somehow keep this game competitive. So if you look to a guy like, if you're going to play Jokic, I think it does make sense to run it back with someone on the other side. Kind of like, again, same thing I said with the Lakers and the Grizzlies. Love the upside of Jokic, just a fact of, can Minnesota keep this game competitive? And Jamal Murray, again, was questionable that last game, played 41 minutes. So same thing I'll say. If you think this game stays competitive, I think Jamal Murray looks really good and just a fantastic matchup. So the top two guys look amazing here for Denver. Just a matter of, can the Timberwolves keep this game close? Now, there's still Michael Porter Jr. Will Barton was a pretty popular play the last slate. He played 36 minutes and shot 1 of 7 and had 18 fancy points. Was expecting a little bit more from Barton. I think he starts again, and if he's going to play mid-30s minutes, I still think he's viable. I think the ownership does drop after he was a letdown to a lot of people that last game. I still think he's a decent play, though, because with no Michael Porter Jr., should play mid-30s minutes. The other plays, like Millsap before 5, just the minutes are just up and down on him. Sure, foul trouble. I just still don't trust it. And I don't think we have to go to anyone on the bench. Like Gary Harris is still playing, pretty decent minutes, but very reliant in the scoring. He's had 31 minutes, 14 fancy points, 36 minutes, 12 fancy points. Basically averaging like 0.3 fancy points a minute right now, Gary Harris is. So does that continue? Probably not. But again, very, very reliant on the scoring. So that's it for Denver. On the Minnesota side, again, if you were playing Jokic, I think it makes sense to run it back with either D'Lo or Malik Beasley. D'Lo was the chalk boss last night, again, because of the blowout, which was so tilting because that game had all the upside in the world. Finished 130 to 109. He shot the ball terribly, 6 of 16. Him and Malik Beasley are going to they are the ones that if Minnesota's going to keep it close, they're going to have big games. So right now only contrarian play for me because I'm not confident in Minnesota. But again, if they keep it competitive, it's D'Lo, it's Malik Beasley. These are the two guys you want to look to. Malik Beasley shot the ball 13 times. So those are the two guys. Like Naz Reid, he is already dealing with foul trouble issues, and now he has to face Nikola Jokic. I am really worried about the foul concerns here with Naz Reid. So I'm not going to go there on a 7-game slate. As far as the secondary options, like Edwards or Rubio, they're fine. Again, more viable if you think Denver keeps it close. But right now this game is, or I'm at least pretty worried about the blowout. Utah and San Antonio, kind of an uglier game here. I think, Rudy Gobert, who had some foul trouble the last game, only played 24 minutes. The plan is for him to play, 35 or so minutes. And he's not a great offensive player, but he's a guy that can normally get you a double-double, can get you some blocks and steals. And this is a pretty good matchup. So I think Gobert is a little underpriced. I think he's a nice cash game play. Again, last game got limited because of the foul trouble, but I think Gobert is a pretty safe play there at that price. Donovan Mitchell's had a slow start to the year. 31, 37, 26 fancy points. I think 7-1 is still a little underpriced for him, but again, not a priority for me. Don't really know what's going on with Mike Conley. He's had 50 fancy points in 2 of the last 3 games. He will not continue this, but if you want to ride this hot streak, you can. I don't like buying high-end guys, and almost 7K for Conley feels like a lot. He's not going to continue to shoot this well, so I'm probably going to look elsewhere. If you want to continue to ride the hot streak, you can, but it's not for me. Again, I don't like buying high-end guys. As far as Bojan goes, we're getting into him. Big minutes, but very reliant on the scoring. I think Clarkson's a decent play off the bench. Same thing, 20 to 25 minutes, reliant on scoring, but definitely not a must play. Royce O'Neal at 4-4 is probable. I think he's an okay cash game play. He's going to play about 35 minutes. Pretty low usage guy, right? 22, 20, 24, and 14 fancy points. So really doesn't have a ceiling. I don't think he's the worst cash game play, but yeah, he's viable, and that's really it there for Utah. So let's move on to San Antonio. So San Antonio, DeRozan had a big game last time out against the Lakers, had 48 fancy points. I mean, he's been pretty consistent besides that one bust when he was complete chalk against New Orleans. 56, 49, 41, and 48 fancy points. If LaMarcus Aldridge is still out again, the offense is running through DeMar DeRozan right now. And he's playing big minutes. Now, sure, the matchup isn't really the best, but I still think he's viable just the way that, again, the big minutes, the fact that he's stuffing stat sheet. So, yeah, DeRozan's viable. Again, don't love the matchup, but he is in play. There's no Derek White, so Dejounte Murray is a little bit more viable. Should still play about 30 to 35 minutes. Does have some upside, but I think DeMar DeRozan has a little bit of a higher floor at the moment. The secondary options, like Keldon Johnson had a big game. He's been very up and down. 26, then 42, then 14, then 48 fancy points. So which Keldon Johnson are we going to get? Price is up to a premium at 6-1. Matchup's not the best. Like for me, I would just rather take the shot on DeRozan. I know Keldon Johnson's been playing pretty well, and he's a young guy. I like his talent. But I don't trust it on this slate, especially in this matchup. I would just rather take the shot on a guy like DeMar DeRozan. Let's see, Rudy Gay's at 5'1", playing mid-20s minutes. Again, I think he's an okay value play, a decent point per minute guy. Jakob Poeltl, again, with no Aldridge, is starting and playing. Did get limited that last game. They kind of went a little bit more small ball, so a little riskier. I probably wouldn't do it based off what we saw the last game. And then, like Lonnie Walker's at 4-2. Minutes went down for him the last game with Derek White out. With Derek White in. With Derek White out, I think the minutes do go back up. So he's a viable punt play, but that's really it there for the Spurs. So let's move on to Dallas and Chicago. This is a game that I want exposure to. Luka Doncic, got to monitor. This will honestly change the whole slate. If Luka plays, he's one of the best spin-ups. Now, he has really been tilting me so far this season. I played him in a fantastic spot against Charlotte. The rest of my lineup was looking amazing. And Luka, they get blown out. 24 minutes, 24 fantasy points. So next slate, I told you guys, I'm off Luka, meaning he's going to have a great game. And what do you know? In a tough matchup, almost 60 fantasy points. So if I play Luka, he will do terribly. If I fade him, he will go off. If he is available to play here in this matchup, I'm probably going to play him, which means he'll somehow bust. But yeah, like I expect mid-30s minutes from him in a fantastic matchup. So if Luka does in fact play, I think he's one of the best spend-ups at 10K. But if he is in fact out, then that changes everything here. Then like Hardaway and Josh Richardson become two of the top plays in the mid-range. And then guys like Trey Burke, Jalen Brunson become two of the better value plays. Again, assuming one of those guys, probably Brunson, would start for Luka. We saw games where Luka was out last game where Brunson would start. So would just change everything. If Luka Doncic is out, I want to load up on Dallas. If Luka Doncic is in, I want to play Luka Doncic. So that's kind of my take right now. Again, with Hardaway and Josh Richardson, if Luka's in, they're still decent options. Again, fantastic matchup. Probably would prefer Jay Rich to Hardaway. If Luka's out, I think you could definitely play both these guys. And then again, probably one or even two of Trey Burke and Jalen Brunson. Really, I would load up on the Dallas Mavs if Luka's out. Let's see. The other options like Powell, Kleber, like Cauley Stein, they're splitting the center minutes. Don't have a ton of interest there, even in a good spot. It just, I don't know. Like you can take a shot on Dwight Powell, but he just really hasn't had much upside. I do like the matchup a lot, but I still don't know if I can do it. Now, Dorian Finney-Smith actually intrigues me for value. I think people will box score watch and avoid him. Well, 3 games ago, blowout. 2 games ago, blowout. Last game, foul trouble. So minutes have been limited for him. He should play over 30 minutes in a close game. So price is down. He's not a super high usage guy, but fantastic matchup. And I expect over 30 minutes from Dorian Finney-Smith. I actually think he's a good, cheap play at that price. And that's it. Again, Trey Burke, Brunson. If Luka plays, don't have a ton of interest. If Luka's out, I think you can make the argument to play both of them, really. So let's move on to Chicago. Chicago is, they're kind of, they're sucking me in here. The prices look pretty good on these guys. I'm not going to lie. There's still no Lauri Markkanen, still no Satoransky, still no Arcidiacono. They are pretty thin once again. I have interest in the top 3 guys. LaVine, Kobe White, Otto Porter Jr. I think all 3 look pretty good. Now, Dallas has been a pretty solid defensive team, but the price tags are just, again, that they're really sucking me in here. So, yeah, I like the price of LaVine. I like the price on Kobe White. If this game's going to stay competitive, it's these 3 guys. And that's a big if, because Chicago is not a great team. Again, that game 2 games ago, Otto Porter went for 50. So, these 3 guys are going to have some big games. I like the pricing on all 3. It's just a fact of can they keep it close, really. Wendell Carter Jr. at 6K. Secondary option for me. I think he's fine, but I would rather get to Otto or Kobe or Zach LaVine for a little bit more. Now, as far as the bench guys go, there actually is a couple guys that I'm interested in. Thad Young at 3.9K, 27 and 23 minutes. The last game was a blowout, so he got limited a bit. But I think he plays mid-20s minutes again, maybe a little bit more. I think he does make for a pretty nice value play at that price. I mean, Patrick Williams, you can make the argument for, but he's really not just seeing a ton of minutes right now. Would probably rather play Thad. And then, Gafford got extended, has played some decent minutes off the bench. But I think you can go there. Maybe look to him if you think the game does blow out. But he actually, surprisingly, Gafford got pulled in the blowout for, Luke Cornett. And then Denzel Valentine's at 3.3K. I mean, he's getting about 15 to 20 minutes. Do we have to go there in the slate? Probably not. Temple also is getting some decent minutes, but I don't know if we have to do it. So really for me, it's the top 3 guys, and then for value, I think it's a guy like Thad Young. But let's move on to the Clippers and Phoenix. So on the Clippers side, I think Kawhi Leonard and Paul George look like really solid options. They both had a really good game in a, not necessarily the best matchup against Utah. Kawhi went for 62. Paul George went for 55. Paul George had back-to-back 50 fantasy point games. Now, I think the floor is much higher in Kawhi. I do prefer Kawhi to Paul George. But both, again, this is a pretty solid matchup here. So I have interest in both those guys. Again, I do prefer Kawhi, though, for the price. Again, with Ibaka versus Zubac, they're splitting the center minutes. Don't have a ton of interest there. Still no Marcus Morris, so you can punt with Batum, but not a high-usage guy. Should play, high 20s minutes. Again, fine, but not a priority for me. Lou Williams actually intrigues me here, a 4-6. Should play about 25 minutes in a close game. He had a bad shooting night that last time out, but again, he does have some upside here. In those two previous games that blew out, he had 31 and 26 in limited time. So 4.6K, I think Lou is a pretty nice GPP play because again, when he gets it going, we know Lou Williams' upside, right? He can go for like 40 plus fancy points. So I am intrigued by him in GPPs. I think a guy like Patrick Beverley will play 20 to 25 minutes. I think below 4K. I think he's an okay value play. But that's really it for me on the Clipper side. And the Phoenix side, Booker price continuously coming down, but I honestly still don't know if I can do it. I just 7-7, tougher matchup. He's just not looking like the same Devin Booker. So, yeah, you can buy low on him, but I'm probably still not going to do it on this slate. DeAndre Ayton and Chris Paul, they look a little bit better for the prices. Ayton at 7-1, had 40 fancy points at last game. Chris Paul had 37. I think these guys are decent options, but not priorities at their respective prices. Again, revenge game narrative for Chris Paul if you guys are into that. The wings with like Bridges, Crowder, Cam Johnson. There's just too many wings for me to really get excited about any of them. And Bridges, Crowder, Cam Johnson, Saric. So I'm probably just going to stay away from those Phoenix wings. Last game here, Portland, Golden State. Well, we saw this game blow out. And Lillard and CJ both had big games in a blowout. Lillard had 55 fantasy points. CJ had 43. And this is a fantastic matchup if you think this game stays close. So if you do, I like both those Portland guards in GPPs. Now, Yusuf Nurkic, I like the buy low opportunity here. He really hasn't flashed much upside recently. 2 games ago against the Clippers, that was a blowout. Last game against Golden State, he got off to a great start and then just got like 3 straight. He had his foul trouble. Could not stay out of foul trouble, only played 18 minutes. I think the plan is for him to play about 30 minutes. Price continuously coming down. Now he's at 6-4 in a fantastic matchup here against Golden State. I kind of like buying low on Yusuf Nurkic. Again, we have not seen the big game from him yet. I think it could be here. Again, he was on pace for it. He was on pace to smash that last game and then got in foul trouble. So I do like Nurkic. I do like buying low on him. Kanter's a guy that with Golden State, with Draymond back, they ran more small ball. So Portland ran more small ball in return, limiting Kanter's minutes. So that worries me. In this matchup, again, I'm just going to stay away because I can't do like 10 minutes of Enes Kanter. As far as the wings go, so Covington got extended a bit because they went a little bit more small ball, but we do have Gary Trent Jr. now back, so they have a lot of wings like Covington, Jones Jr., Trent Jr., Melo, right? Does one really stand out? Probably not. If you're going to make me pick, I would go Rocco, but 5K, again, that seems about right. And then on the Golden State side, I like Steph Curry a lot at 9-4. Again, in the blowout, put up 45 fantasy points. He should play over 35 in a competitive game. This is a good matchup. And if Golden State is going to stay in it, we're going to have to see a big game from Steph. Because Wiggins struggling, Kelly Oubre can't hit the broadside of the barn. Draymond's going to be limited. So it is Steph Curry if they're going to keep this game close. I do like the upside in him a good amount. And some blowout risk since we saw it last game. But it is only, a 5-point spread. And then, Wiggins, Oubre. I don't play Andrew Wiggins, and Oubre can't hit the broadside of a barn, so not for me. Draymond continuously to be limited, so I'm not going to go there 5-8. Wiseman rolled his ankle, but looks like he's good to go. 5-2, and we saw a couple upset games from him in blowouts, but in competitive games or closer games, he hasn't done a ton, so I'll pass there for now. Like a guy like Kevon Looney at 3-3 probably plays about 15 minutes, but I don't think we have to go there for value. And really, again, they just extend too many guys in the bench. They'll use Pascal, they'll use Lee, they'll use Toscano Anderson, Wanamaker, Base. They just have too many guys they use. So I don't have any interest in those bench guys for Golden State. It's really Steph Curry for me, and that's it. And I do like Steph a good amount at that price. So that's going to do it for the video today, guys. If you have been enjoying the content so far, I'd really appreciate it if you leave a like button on the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit the notification bell so you don't upload videos you don't want to go live. But yeah, thanks again, guys. I hope you guys have a great day, and let's please pray for no blowouts, no foul trouble, no injuries, no ejections, and now no surprise benches. Please, none of that for tomorrow's slate. Let's hope for some good luck finally. Thanks again, guys, and I will see you all tomorrow.